The greatest showman. Yeah, the greatest showman in the world.
He's the greatest showman in the world.
All right, so 5. Almost started.
6.
Yeah, I almost started counting up, and it was like, why am I holding 3 fingers? Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis, Feo Grande on YouTube, and we are back for some more movie talk, musical this time, but we're back for some more movie talk with this guy hasn't seen, and as usual, I am joined with one of my favorite compatriots for conversation, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hello, Omari. Hello, Omaricans. It's wonderful to be here tonight. It's wonderful to see your face. I am so happy to be here to see this movie.
All right, so yeah, yep. All right, so we'll get into it, but I kind of got an idea what you feel. So yes, we are talking about this guy hasn't seen, and usually we trade back and forth one thing that the other guy has seen, that one guy has seen and the other hasn't. Last week we did Lovecraft Country, which was a first season of a TV show. That's why I don't just say we trade movies back and forth. We trade pop culture back and forth. We're expanding our visual categories and libraries of the things we've seen. And this week was The Greatest Showman, starring Hugh Jackman.
Celebrates the birth of show business and tells a visionary who rose from nothing to create a spectacle that became a worldwide sensation. Directed by Michael Gracie, written by Jenny Bricks and Bill Condon. Came out in 2017.
2017. That is right. It is The Greatest Showman. I guess, as he said, about P.T. Barnum. Phineas Taylor Barnum, I think is what he said his full name was in the movie. But
So,
yes.
Mari, why did you pick this? Was it punishment for me making you cry last week?
No. It wasn't punishment for me making you cry. You know how I usually preface things with the whole, this is in the remembered favorably category, even though I don't remember whether or not I fully enjoyed it?
Correct.
That was kind of
I believe
one of
you've
those
already attributed this
to that.
with that.
Yeah.
With that tag.
So it was
the membered favorably stamp from Omari.
Membered favorably, yes. The first time I saw it was a couple years ago. I know I mentioned him on Whatever We Want. I might have mentioned him here. No, I definitely did when we did Jesus Christ Superstar. Fluffles, a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. His mother is really into Hugh Jackman. And though I had no interest in seeing this movie initially myself when it came out, one time down south, chilling with the mom, like before a Super Bowl or something like that, she's like, y'all haven't seen World's Greatest Showman or The Greatest Showman? Let's watch this. Because she wanted to show us, because neither of us had seen it. And so we watched it. I was like, that's an experience, okay, yeah, all right. Uh-huh. And then it was like, okay, yeah, they had that song that they do the other time. We'll get into it. And I was like, all right, cool. And forgot about it. And then last week it came up to, I need to pick something for next week. I believe I've talked with Bill and he said he hasn't seen The Greatest Showman. That
is correct, Omari. I have
Greatest
not.
Show. So it wasn't a punishment. It was a last second decision of let me see something that I definitely have listed that Bill hasn't seen. Let me pick it. So yeah, that's how I saw it and why I picked it. Why hadn't you seen it?
Well, why hadn't I seen it? It was, I don't know why it wasn't on my radar. Why I feel like there was, I may have caught some talk of like P.T. Barnum is a terrible dude, and this movie romanticizes him in too positive of a way.
I might have caught some of that vibe as well.
I may have caught that, and that may have already sent me from teetering. I don't know. I'm a terrible theater goer now. I only go for the big movies, the big blockbusters, or the ones that are getting screamed about winning awards.
Yeah.
That's what I go in the theater for. Everything else, I'm like, meh, that's a home movie.
Yeah.
And then home movies are competing with so much shit.
Yes.
So much shit home movies are competing with that rarely those movies ever get seen these days.
That is a very good explanation as to why I haven't seen a lot of things.
It's a very good explanation for it.
Yeah.
It could be a recorded answer that you just continue to replay every segment potentially. I mean, it would probably fit for a lot of these films.
Yeah.
When we're talking about modern day.
Gotcha.
Like the older ones, the 80s ones, it's more of a discussion of like okay, so you've had your entire lifetime to not see this movie.
Yes, and either just escape because either A, no interest because wheelhouse, or just culturally it didn't line up. That's usually been our excuse for the 80s ones.
Right.
But yeah, so that said, what were you expecting with The Greatest Showman?
I wasn't expecting a full-on musical, I can tell you that.
Okay.
I don't know what I was expecting in that regards. I was thinking more a movie with music. A movie where music is a very
Where music
heavy,
happens.
right? Like maybe I was thinking it was just one of these movies that relies really heavily on its music drops.
Yeah.
Where like a bunch of top 40 songs of this year would suddenly
soundtrack
play.
Movie.
Right, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize I didn't know it was a full-on musical. I knew all the big players except for Michelle Williams playing P.T. Barnum's wife.
Okay.
But I knew about Zac Efron. I knew about Zendaya. I'm a big Zendaya fan. I'm a big Hugh Jackman fan. I think Zac Efron is a little underrated, underappreciated. Yeah. I mean, he gets a lot of work, but I feel like it's mostly like face work. Yeah. It's eye candy work, but I feel like he puts in some good work.
Yeah.
When he does that, and then I was looking through his IMDb at some point during this movie, not to get too far out of what I was expecting, but I was looking through his IMDb at one point, and he's done a lot of like art house films that I haven't seen. So he's putting in the work. He's trying, and so I was curious about that, and I was already kind of thinking of like, I think Zac Efron might be pretty good, like what he's asked to be.
Yeah,
I think he might do it pretty well. So I knew all those players were in it going into it, and I knew it was P.T. Barnum. And like I said before, I already knew about some internet discussion of like, this is kind of propping up a man that we shouldn't prop up.
95% of rich people from the early turn of the century.
Correct. Yes.
So that's why I'm like, I probably got that vibe too, but I was also like, while it doesn't make it right, it's at the same time, what do you expect?
Well, the truth. I think that's the discussion. I meant
for people to be like, for the people, not so much like, I understand why people don't want him presented in a positive light for this movie, but more so for people who try to like, did you know that? And it's like, well, so was everybody back then. Fucking
right, but yeah, but
like,
it's
not, terrible. But
so many people are going to inevitably see this movie and think that it's historical.
Yeah, it's
document.
Not. It's not.
So I think that was the uncomfortable discussion that I was seeing on the internet.
Gotcha.
Was just like, this isn't an argument of like, don't share this man's story, it's not an interesting story, but like, this should be a dark, hard drama about how this man like brutally was like, all reports that I was reading at that time, and I haven't, this is all conjecture, but was not a good man.
No.
Was not a man that you would cast Hugh Jackman as, like, kind of thing. Like, you wouldn't want the audience to get Hugh Jackman vibes off of this guy. And so I think, especially like when the trailers were coming around that weren't showing, spoilers, this movie does show our main character, P.T. Barnum, as going a little dark, has some negative moments, has some moments where he's ashamed of his players in his show and treats them like second class citizens and things like that. But especially I don't remember any marketing ever. Like, it was all just like,
I didn't even realize it was about
we're
P.T.
doing
Barnum.
a circus.
I didn't realize it was about P.T. Barnum till I watched it. Like, I had heard all that P.T. Barnum discourse, but I never put it together that that's what Greatest Showman was about. I just thought I had always got it mixed up with shit like The Prestige or insert some other movie about a magician. I was thinking it was going to be a movie about magic. It wasn't.
Fair.
So now we got that out
There's
the way.
a little bit of magic in there.
There is a little. And a sleight of hand.
But yeah, that. I guess that's basically what that's all in all what I was expecting. I knew about that little like internet argument that was going on back when the movie was first released. Knew all the players. Knew that it was a P.T. Barnum like kind of biopic-ish thing. I was completely surprised that it was a full-on musical. And as it started happening, I was like, actually, Omari may have said this on multiple occasions.
Yeah, 'cause I was
like, well, we've done musicals.
Yeah, like, you've done the 2 musicals. I haven't suggested a musical yet.
Right. Yeah, I was like, I think he told me this, but I had no idea.
Fair. All right, so that said, initial reactions.
Initial reactions coming out of the gate were
that's the first
to
thing
be honest,
you
my
hear.
first reaction was the audio mix is terrible.
Yes.
I was watching
realized
this
it
through the
this time.
Disney Plus app.
I realized it this time, and yes, I agree. I didn't agree the first
Like-
time, or didn't notice the first time, because that was Fluffles' complaint when we watched it. But I noticed it this time.
Yeah, the audio mix is terrible. So often in the movie, the dialogue in scenes with some background noise or the words in a song are overpowered by the music in a song to the point where you can't even hear him. Yeah, his singing at the very beginning is so fucking quiet. So that was honestly my very initial reaction. And then as we start to go into his childhood life, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. So like Omarikins, this episode for me will be the hottest that I have ever watched one of our pieces.
And that's as in freshest?
Fresh, yes, as
hottest.
or as
I thought it
freshest.
was like hot take. I'm best.
Hottest. The freshest that I have ever watched one of these. The film still has ended less than an hour ago. And I can't tell you anything fucking specific about it. And I didn't look at my phone the entire time. I stayed right there, connected to it. Boy, I mean, the second it started, I didn't like the music.
Fair.
The choreography feels off. It's very colorful, almost too colorful when it's shot. Like, it looks like it's over. It's they've just kind of like bumped up saturation and post in a weird way. And then we get to the first song when we see a poor man's plight of a little boy.
Wants to marry a rich chick.
Right. And then dad dies, and then he's fucking street urchin.
Typical prophetic musical number where he's like, I'm going to be rich and never put no one my name.
The song sung by them is terrible. It's terrible. Hugh Grant and Michelle Williams doing it in the back half is better.
Yeah.
But it's still not good.
No.
There's no song in this movie that's good.
I won't go that far, but it is one of the least memorable musical track listings from musicals that I've watched. If that makes it, that's a weird way of saying it, but I remembered one song going into this, and I remembered a scene, but not the song that revolved around it otherwise. And I was like, what other songs did they have? And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. All right. Hey, it's the song I recognize. Which I liked more for the choreography than the song itself. The bar scene.
I hated the choreography.
I said the bar scene. I like the bartender.
The bar scene.
I like the bartender with the glass and all that stuff.
The bartender is doing the best work in that scene.
Yes,
the bartender is doing the best work in that scene.
He's the reason I like. That's what I realized. He's the main reason I remembered and liked that song, because I liked the bartender. Like, that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to be like, oh, it's a showstopper. No, it's.
Yeah, the bartender is doing the best work in that scene. Overall, the choreography of this film is just weird and bad.
Yeah,
it's weird and bad. It's like bad boy band choreography most of the time.
Oh my god, some of those, yeah, I can see that.
Like NSYNC wouldn't do it. Backstreet, like, we're talking like O-Town.
Degrees?
No, not 98. O-Town.
Okay.
O-Town choreography.
Liquid Dreams and shit.
Yeah, that's what we're talking here. It's rough. It's rough. I would say the one standout moment, the one standout positive that I can give this movie off the bat that I can think of right away.
All right.
The one positive I got for it is, like I said in the lead-in of what I was expecting, I'm a fan of things that Zendaya does.
Yes.
Spider-Man movies and Euphoria. And I was thinking that Zac Efron was like, he's pretty good. Their relationship, the subtle way they played it early on in the beginning, and then their moment, although I don't like the song still, their moment of the trapezing.
Yeah. That was the second thing aside from the bar that I was talking about. I like the trapeze scene, not necessarily the song, but the scene was good I believe at least her is actually doing her trapeze stuff. I think
I believe I've seen some behind the scenes.
She came out and said that she learned trapeze for that.
Yeah, I think they made that pretty public. I think I saw a bunch of promo stuff about how like she like all those weird rope tricks
So
and like
so mad
falling,
respect
spinning
to her for that and shit. Because
I think I've also seen
Lord knows I don't think I could learn that
seen
shit.
an interview with her where she talks about how the climactic moment where they kind of half collide, half catch each other,
Yeah.
and then
Where
start
he jumps off and
oh well, not early on, like towards the end of the song, when they kind of like when he grabs onto her and they do that really tight fast spin. One of those takes, her elbow went straight into his face.
damn.
And did some pretty good damage. I think I saw that on like a James Corden or something. So anyway, I liked the two of them. They were really cute together. The scene where the European lady is being brought by Barnum to sing in New York, and all of his circus players are in the back of the theater. And that song is maybe I can say that might be my favorite.
Okay.
Although it's still like meh.
The song itself is man. Her singing's good though.
Yeah. But their whole bit in the back of the theater during that song, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
That's I liked the two little girls. I liked their whole thing of just, but that's easy.
Yeah.
That's just like, I'm fucking adorable. Yeah. Like that's,
I'll give you that.
But they did that and they did it well. Yeah. And then when they're trying to dance along with the choreography, in one of the big circus numbers, that was adorable. When they're helping Dad flyer early on in the museum days of the event.
You got too much dead shit in your museum.
Yeah. What a lovely museum of death. So yeah, that's
there. All right, so
that's me being positive.
All right. Let's see. Positive.
How about you be positive, Omari?
Positive. We mentioned some things that I agreed on you with that. Yep. I even have the whole hand holding and denial of the interracial relationship moment of which you were talking about.
Yep.
The bartender. I think I mentioned that. Some of the acting.
It was really colorful.
Of the acting was well done.
Yeah, can we talk about how much I didn't like Hugh Jackman in this movie?
We can, because I think we've run out of positive stuff to talk about.
What is going on? He's Wolverine.
I know. That's why he survived bringing the guy out the burning building.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to like him at least.
I didn't like. I liked his acting more than I liked his singing, but his acting wasn't some of his best. I'll say that. I will agree with you on that. Main people whose acting I did enjoy were like you were saying, Efron's better than I thought. I'm not gonna be like, oh, Oscar, but still solid job. I liked Zendaya's doing her stuff. I was kind of
such a fucking cutie, man. And then when she's got the pink wig and she's all in her like trapeze artist thing.
Yes,
my goodness.
I mean,
what a babe. I mean, to put it as like politely as I can while still being like, but while still being truthful. Like, my goodness, a knockout. Gorgeous like definition woman. Of a knockout.
Gorgeous woman.
Yeah. So yeah, this positive train.
It's kind of chewing out. I liked a line that I'm gonna bring up in reference later, but it was a line that I liked, is that no one understands wealth and privilege less than those born into it. I did like that line from Jenny Lind, who was kind of hinting at, like, hey, I came from poor, which she later full on states, but she kind of hinted at it with that. She's like, I came from a poor upbringing too. I get it. I get why we're here, and these motherfuckers will never understand us. But also, just that line itself, I've said some version of that, or been saying that for a long time.
Yeah. That's that. In fact, I was just trying to do a quick Google because it feels like something that would have been a quote.
Yeah.
Already, but it doesn't look like it's one of those. But yeah, it feels like something out of a quote book.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good line. That is.
Yeah.
It's a really good line.
That there's the one positive thing that I had listed that you hadn't mentioned. All right. So feel free to whatever you want to say.
I mean, I don't know how I hate this movie. I hate it. I hated it. I an hour and 20 minutes in, I yelled in my living room. I hate this movie. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, it's a cluster of bleh. Like, it's bad songs. It's bad choreography. There is no rhyme or reason most of the time during the numbers. Zendaya comes in here and comes in here and then comes out there and then walks in here, flies and just falls to the ground and then walks into frame over here in a different take. There's it makes the spatial awareness makes no sense most of the time. The green screening moments are terrible. The visual effects moments are terrible for 2017.
Anytime old dudes riding an animal, it looks fake as shit.
Yeah. It looks like the worst thing ever.
It takes you out. It is immersion breaking. And we're like, every time I'm like, oh, all right. And I'm like, did they CG him too? No, I don't know. It's weird.
And then, yeah, I can't. And that's the other, like, I just watched this movie. And I can't. And yeah, I watched it.
I expected. This is not entirely negative, I guess. But with the whole thing with Jenny Lind, when he first started to go on tour with her, I'm like, oh, they're going to hook up. He's going to cheat on his wife.
Right.
This is what's coming. I like that that's not exactly how it went. And, you know, like, he was like, nah, I'm not. In fact, she got pissed that he didn't cheat on his wife with her. Because he's like, fuck it. No, if this ain't ever going to be an actual relationship, I don't give a damn. I'm going home. And he's like, what? But then she does the whole bitch move of kissing him on the stage, causing everyone to think that they were cheating the whole time. And I'm like, well, now the wife is gonna fall for this, and it's gonna do that. And while the wife did leave, when he brought it up, she's like, oh, I knew damn well you didn't try to date her. However, you care more about being famous and shit. And that's yeah. And I'm like, they still have to go through this beat, even though they did it in a different fashion. I still don't like the fact that we had to go to the same story beat or same set of story beats.
Yes,
which, I mean, 90% of stories are all the same. Yes, I know, but you get my point.
And then whoever decided to put her in that blue scarf in the moment when he goes back to his family and tries to get her back, that person should be shot. My God. Like, It was it's not.
Damn.
It's just
It didn't make sense though.
there's no glaring standout moments for me of badness. It's
Fair.
just a really bad movie. And I mean, you know, like I can totally see this being a movie that you're kind of watching over at some friend's mom's house, and you're being polite through all of it, and maybe there's the occasional small talk, and the ending of it is like, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, okay, Great Showman, it was fine. I could totally see that, but like watching it with a critical lens,
Yes.
as we're often doing when we're doing these,
Yes.
it just does not hold up at all.
Yeah. Like I said, shit, we don't need to spend a whole hour on this episode.
Where are we at?
I don't know. We're only at like 34 minutes, or 30 minutes maybe. I just thought it was. I was just like, I mean, neither of us really have a big list of like standout moments or stuff.
There's just not really a whole lot of just like glaring negatives about the film. It's just,
I actually rather it had been about like some dark take on the actual P.T. Barnum. Yeah, because this one you could have changed P.T. Barnum's name to anything, and it'd be the exact same fucking movie.
Yeah, and that's the other bit of it at the end of it. Once the movie is over, that adds to the whole like whether like if this was about a fake person, it would be a bad movie.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, like we touched on in the what I was expecting, if it is accurate that this man was just like a money hungry person, awful to hit, like if he's living in mansions and they're still living in dirt shacks, kind of thing, and all of the things that I remember seeing attributed to him on the internet during the marketing of this movie, not by this movie, obviously.
Clearly.
If that is accurate, this movie ends with him as the hero. And everybody loves P.T. Barnum. And I just think it's very irresponsible to make a biopic and like you know.
Yeah.
It's a sad fact, but 40% of the world are idiots, and so many people are going to see this movie and take it as gospel.
Yeah. He was friendly to all people of all shapes and sizes, and blah 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 blah.
Well, he told them to stay in the kitchen during that one fancy event, but they stood up for themselves, and he never did it again. Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. And honestly, if that's all fucking fake, then I wouldn't be fucking surprised if he slept with that girl. Like, what are we going off of to say that he didn't? Other than
I just meant the movie. In real life, he definitely did.
Right.
He just wasn't gonna leave his wife, and then she got mad.
Yeah.
In real life, that's probably what happened.
So yeah, that's a whole other level of this movie of just like, if all of that is true, it's incredibly irresponsible filmmaking on top of doing a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad because I love Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Wolverine. He's Wolverine, Omari.
I'm well aware, buddy.
Have you ever seen his opening to the Oscars? Written by Dan Harmon. creator of Community and Rick and Morty.
I know Dan Harmon. I don't know if I feel like I would have, but I don't think so. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Has he hosted more than once?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so much better than this movie.
Now that we're bringing Wolverine into it, do I want to make this claim? I was gonna say, I don't think there's a Wolverine movie worse than this, but
Wolverine Origins is better than this movie.
Yeah, Origins was bad, but you had moments? Question mark?
I mean, it's still, at the end of the day, it still is a man with a man with a very short temper and very high healing ability with metal claws that come out of his hands.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
it did have the video game boss battle at the end, which, while stupid, was memorable to this day. Even though I only watched the movie once, because I was like, "This, what did they do? What did they do to my X-Men?"
Right, because that's the one that they did the first Ryan Reynolds Deadpool, right?
Yes,
where they just destroyed it. I don't know if I've. Yes, I have seen the actual version. For years, the only one that I had seen was the one that got leaked. That was like the majority of the special effects weren't on yet. Yeah, it was so bad. It was so. But this is worse.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that because at least it's just like. Because there's we've talked about it before. There's a scale. It's just like in D&D where you have like lawful good, chaotic good.
Yeah.
There's good where it's it's a good film, a good movie. They did their job well, and then you enjoyed watching it.
Okay.
There's good bad where you can understand that it's a good film, that they did their job well, but you didn't like it.
Molly's game.
There's bad good, where it's bad,
actually,
but
no,
it's
not Molly's game.
A wonderful watch because it's bad. And then at the bottom of the scale, we have bad. And it's just a bad movie that's no fun to watch.
I will give you that. I feel like, yeah.
And I would say Wolverine Origins, if you're able to separate yourself from your fandom.
I think that might be why it's hard, because I was in the thought process of putting that together. Like, as I thought about it, I'm like, if I didn't know shit about the X-Men and I was watching X-Men Origins Wolverine, I probably would just lump it in as, no, at least it's got the action.
Because now, it literally is a what if film.
Yeah.
It's just a giant what if film. They've retconned it out of existence. And so.
Yeah.
And True. So, yeah, it's literally just a what if film. And I would put it in the category of bad good. Yeah. It's obviously a terrible movie, but you can watch it and have some enjoyment, especially if you're in a room of shit talkers.
Yeah,
like a bad movie is always good with a room of shit talkers.
Like if you're purposely like hate watching something.
Yeah. I don't know if a group of shit talkers can make a good time out of The Greatest Showman.
No. Okay. There we go. Greatest Showman.
We've solved movies,
X-Men
folks.
Origins Wolverines. You heard it here.
You heard it here first, O'Markins. I need a scale now. We need to do a proper like square box guide.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to do the whole roles you play thing. No, me neither. I play either of the main two guys.
I'll be Charity's dad, so I can tell P.T. Barnum to go fuck himself.
Nice. Yeah. Aside from just me being a lead acting whore, that'd be the only thing I'd be like, I'd be the main character. Why not? But no, I probably wouldn't have any interest in doing this one.
Was there something that you were a ringmaster in? Did we do something that you would have been like a ringmaster?
I feel like I have a similar image in my head. It wasn't a whole ass play.
Like an acting and directing thing?
It might have been something like that.
Which is a class for anyone who doesn't...
Yeah.
Who didn't have that titling structure in their acting classes.
I know for senior, like one of the senior days, they had like a little talent thing, and they had me come out as like a Sandman-esque dude at the Apollo. You remember Sandman at the Apollo?
Right.
I had a Sandman-esque role that day for when people booed to get it out. I know that was a thing.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that.
That was at Old Country Buffet. Huh?
Oh God,
Anyway.
I definitely didn't see that.
Yeah, it was on one of the days. It was one of the days we got off of school during Mapped Week.
The idea of a talent show sounds like
it wasn't
my worst nightmare. Even just being in the audience.
Gotcha. No, I feel like I'd had to have been something for like acting and directing or something.
Yeah, but I don't know. You got ringmaster vibes.
Yeah.
I'll give you ringmaster vibes, dude.
Yeah, the center stage attention whore is like, aha, embassy. Yeah, I can do that.
Center of the stage attention whore. Take my compliment. Yeah.
No, I actually was saying it in a positive light. Like, that's what he is. He's just me. Yes, I get it. So, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. But yeah, so final thoughts. Clearly, we didn't like it. I said I hated it. He hated it.
I guess maybe we're waiting for me.
Well, sorry. I was like, you said it was like a big blah all throughout. First thing I had typed earlier was a resounding meh. I was more just like the points you made as to why it's not good at all were reasons that I was like, yeah, it's just kind of forgettable. I didn't enjoy it, but it is forgettable. And one of the things I will say, like there was some good acting, but that's to be expected of the cast. It did bring a problem I'm having with stories, or I'm starting to realize, and it goes to that quote I mentioned earlier, where I'm kind of getting tired of stories where they vilify the idea of always wanting more for you and your family, because they're like, and they want you to be, and because the person keeps trying to get them, and they're like, I was fine. We could have been happy when we were poor. I told you the whole time we would have been happy wanting less and being poor as long as you got family. Who cares if we're starving? And I'm like, I don't like it because we got the whole difference in classes as it is, and having a lot of the media like that we go to escape the shittiness of being in the lower classes is telling us, yeah, being lower classes is awesome because being any higher would make you an evil asshole. So you want to be a calm-hearted person, right? Stay poor, nigga. And I don't like that. So I have something that the movie like triggered in me when I was typing my review of it, and I was like, yeah, his wife just being mad because she's like, we should have been poor the whole time. My daughter was like she wanted ballet shoes, and I was like, how many checks am I gonna have to put together to get her these shoes? And then we get her into the ballet, and all the kids hate her because of like her status as my daughter. So no, I have to keep going and being bigger because my daughter shouldn't have to deal with that. They were fine just being with us. No, they weren't. I want to be happy for good. But yes,
Yeah, like that's easy for her to say because she hasn't been poor her whole life.
Those who are born rich don't
But I
understand
think,
it.
but like I do sympathize a little bit.
You can be happy with your family.
Only
It's
like
just
I guess you can hear her point of view as just like every child is going to have their struggles.
yeah.
Yours were definitely terrible. I had a very terrible father, obviously. These girls may have a struggle of getting picked on at school because dad runs a circus. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, guess what? One of their best friends is a giant elephant, like kind of thing. Like, I feel like that was kind of her vibe at one point.
Well,
But that
like I
may just
said,
be me kind of liking Michelle
It
Williams.
triggered it. Not, I
Look,
didn't
I'm
really have a problem
defending
with
this
her.
fucking movie. Get out of here.
Huh?
I can't believe I'm defending this fucking movie. Any piece of it.
No, for me, my thing wasn't even so much toward everything this movie did. It's just things within the story triggered a trope like alert. Like I don't
No,
like this
but yeah,
trope.
that's definitely that is a trope and a mastermind plot thing of just like keep the rich villainized, and although like a lot of rich are villains,
Yeah.
but a lot of poor people would be villains the second they got money, like but that doesn't stop me from wanting that money.
Yeah, exactly.
You just gotta convince yourself that you'd be a better person. I think there's a reason why this movie doesn't show us where the players of the circus live.
Yeah, they like when you mentioned the whole he's living in a mansion. They like we didn't have homes, but that circus was. They just kind of they don't say the dirt tents behind it. They're just like you gave us a building to be at, I guess, because everyone hated us anyway.
Yeah, they
now
might have
that's
lived there.
gone. Yeah, and he's like, well, now when we go to our next place, we won't even have a building. We'll just have tents.
Great, so we're gonna sleep in the dirt. And then he gets that set up and he's like, peace.
He's like,
I'm gonna go live in my
cool.
mansion and take my daughter to her fancy ass ballet school.
Yeah, he's like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go watch my daughters grow up. People want to see you. And then they go do some weird dance at the end that you're kind of right doesn't necessarily match with. Like the choreography was off.
I mean, the choreography and the music it does not match the time, and that's fine. You can do that, but yeah, like almost every time they would dance, I would just get this vibe of like, this is terrible. Like, who was this choreographer? I'm just not a fan. I can't tell you technically why it was hurting my eyeballs, but it was hurting my eyeballs, Omari.
My eyeballs are hurting right now because it's just ring late. So,
final thoughts. I hated it.
Yes.
I hate it. The worst movie we've watched so far.
Yeah, I figured like the second I finished typing, I'm like, we just talked about Molly's Game being the bottom of our barrel 2 videos ago.
We found a new bottom, folks.
The Greatest Showman. So yeah, we ain't like it. So that's what we did this week. What do we got next week, Bill?
Oh my goodness. We are going to watch next week. I talked about that scale. We're here.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring us to here.
All right.
We're going to watch Con Air next week.
All right. That's the Nick Cage one, right? Yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure I had it right. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That should be fun.
Yes. We will be watching Nick Cage's Con Air next week.
Just so I knew what movie. Yeah. So yeah, awesome. So that is what we're good for this week in the sense that the movie wasn't good, but we're done talking about it. If you want to see more,
Mari, they can't see you anywhere else, can they?
if you want to see more, you can find me here, obviously. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube with the Whatever We Want podcast. New episodes every week, every Wednesday. You can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at GeoTavi. That is Gio.
How do you spell that?
Tavi. Come on in. Stop. Bill, is there anywhere people can find you? Anything you want to say to anybody?
No.
All right. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week. Adios.
Adios, this.